Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Your Time to Shine, a radio show designed to help you explore your own divine gifts. Good evening, and thank you so much for being here with me this evening, and I hope tonight finds you well. So, I've been talking to a few people lately, and this includes me as well in this story, in this part of the teaching moment of my show. But as I have been talking with people out there, everybody seems to be kind of going through this transition period. And it's very interesting. It's this period in between a spirit, maybe a spiritual awakening or some transformational area of your life, something that's opening up. And you just know that on the other side, there's something coming, there's something bigger. And like I said, I've been talking to a few people, and we're comparing notes of what's going on in our lives. And even though we're all going through something different, there are still so many similarities. So, what do I mean about a spiritual transformation? So, in the astrology chart, and I'm not an astrologer, but I have been hearing some of the people saying that we are on the verge. There's like really big energy for shifts and changes, and it's really firing us up. And it's going into next year. And so there's this period where people are feeling like they are in this transition period. So, what does that look like? So, some of you might feel stuck, right? You've got this push and this pull of this energy of feeling stuck. You want to change your job, but you don't really want to change your job because you've got the job security, right? Maybe you want to shift in your relationship, but yet you don't want to shift in your relationship. So it's this energy of not knowing exactly what to do, where you have to just sit there and put everything on pause and go, you know what? I'm going to just take a moment and take a breath and see what comes, right? Another way you can tell is, you've got sleep versus no sleep. You're either extremely tired or you're not getting any sleep at all, right? It's that same kind of push and pull feeling that's really hard for us to decide, to figure out. Our body is trying to figure it all out as well as we are. Conflicts arise, right? Conflicts in relationships, in work relationships, all the relationships out there, friendships, right? There's conflicts arising. You may find that you're arguing more, you're not communicating effectively, right? It's like everything is seemingly so hard to get through. It's just like you're pushing against a wall at all the time. Your emotions are out of control. You're very emotional, and things, one minute you're joyous and you're happy, and the next minute you're in tears. It's all these really raw emotions that are coming up. And then some of you might even feel like this complete and total calm and inner peace. And you're thinking, what is this about? Right? So, any and all of those categories may be indications that you too are in this transition period, right? And it's all about what we need to do, taking that inner look and saying, okay, what is it that needs to shift or change? Because the things that we continue to do aren't working. So, what is it that we need to do to shift that up, to change that, to get moving forward into that next level, into that next step? And part of that may actually be to take a step back, right? To stop trying to push against something that isn't working, to stop, the conflicts and trying to figure out what's going on, because obviously it's not working doing it the way that you're doing it because you're pushing against a wall. So it's a matter of stepping back, taking a breath and saying, you know what, maybe I don't need to do anything with this right now. Maybe I take a break. Maybe that's a month. Maybe that's 2 months, right? It's all very different for each one of us. But it's actually being in that awareness of saying, okay, wait a minute, there's something going on here. There's, I'm in preparation for something, right? Some of you, maybe your calendars were completely full, like mine, and they're starting to kind of fall away, right? It's giving you that chance to take a breath, to reevaluate and say, okay, what is the next step that I need to do? All things that you're kind of going through this transition period. And it's okay to have all of those things. It's okay to step back and say, I'm taking a moment, I'm taking a breath so that I can regroup and figure out what it is that I need to do, figure out something new, because the way I'm doing it is not working for me anymore. It's like beating your head against the wall, right? Do you ever feel that way? That you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and it doesn't work. It doesn't turn out the way you thought. Everything is hard. And so that is the time that you have to step back and go, okay, time to shift and try something different. Even if it's something that you hadn't even thought about, even if it's something that might seem a little scary, all it takes is just a little deviation from our path in order to start the flow again, in order for everything to start coming in with ease. So again, I think a lot of you are out there right now are going through that. So in preparation for tonight, I pulled a couple cards, which I think is so hilarious because, of course, it relates to everything that I just talked about. So I pulled two cards. It says, I am at the center of peace, right? We just talked about that, feeling that inner calm and peace. I am filled with healthy energy, right? So some of us need that energy, right? Some of us need that energy to get through the day, maybe because we aren't sleeping at night, right? So interesting of the cards, that come up because they always relate. I have wonderful energy that sustains me throughout each day. I am radiant, vital, and alive. And the peace card says, in peace, I live and move and experience life because I keep myself centered, inner peace. I have peace in my outer world, right? So if you're in that transition period, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Be okay with stepping back. Be okay with changing it up. Whatever it is and whatever that looks like for you, it is absolutely perfect and in the right and divine timing. All right. Well, right now we are going to go to the phone lines. We have someone on the line ready to talk with me this evening. We've got Jennifer in San Diego, California. Good evening, Jennifer, and welcome to Your Time to Shine.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I am good, thank you. What can I do for you this evening?
Um, Honestly, everything you just said kind of seems like it's definitely what's going on with me. That could explain some stuff. But I
Yeah,
just wanted to talk to you about my relationship with John because you mentioned communication, and that kind of seems our thing right now. He's had a lot going on, and his MO is as things get stressful, he definitely kind of slams that door and doesn't want to talk. Whereas
right.
I'm trying to figure things out, and we've kind of maybe it's just what you talked about, kind of that energy shift right now with what's going on. But it just seems I know he's stressed. I know a lot's going on. And I don't know. I figured I'd talk to you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the energy and the shift and what's going on in the cosmos. And definitely, if what I just said resonated with you, then it's most definitely a message for you. However, let me tune in and see what other information I can get for you. And so as I do that, there's just going to be a little moment of silence as I do that, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, Jennifer. Yeah, what they're showing me is he he has a tendency to get very overloaded very quickly. Um, and then when he does, he shuts down. And so it's about taking that and kind of honoring that, right? And being okay, well, because you're the one that wants to talk it out and he's the one that shuts down. And so because of that, you're not meeting on the same frequency, you're not meeting on the same level. So what they're showing me is for to actually take that step back, right? To take that step back and give him that moment of what he needs to do, what he needs to process through. So then you can come back to the table and say, okay, that didn't work. So what is it? What is it that we need to do? What is it that we need to talk about now that we've both had a moment to kind of step away from this and process it? Um, they're showing me that he processes very differently, and so it's an understanding of how he actually does process. Um, he's very internal, and you're very external. And so it's about coming to that center, coming to that point and finding out where it is that you guys can bridge that gap. Um, they're showing me it's just kind of a phase. Um, it's not this isn't something that you're going to have to worry about long term. It's like this phase, it's like this ebb and flow of what's going on in life. And so it's just about kind of getting through that period, getting through this, what I'm calling this transition period for so many people, right? Um, I'm asking here what else that they're wanting you to know. It almost feels like there is something in his job right now that's putting a lot of pressure on him. Is he thinking about moving his job or changing a job right now?
His job is very stressful, and it's within sales around the world, and obviously, holiday sales are big right now.
Yeah.
So while he hasn't done anything, I mean, it's in the back of his mind to get something better. It's just hard to
Mhm.
make that transition.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm being shown that there's going to be a shift, and after this holiday season, he's going to start reevaluating and thinking about what's really important. Um, because the job, they are showing me, yes, you are correct. The job is really stressful, and it's going to come down to, is this really worth it, right? Um, so it's about kind of giving him that little bit of, okay, let's get through this piece of it and then let's reevaluate. Okay. Um, they're showing me that you're his biggest cheerleader. And you're going to be the one who's going to be able to say, okay, let's look at this from a different viewpoint, right? It's like you are the very grounded one, and he listens to you. Even though you think maybe he doesn't, because they're kind of giggling at me because they're thinking, "Oh yeah, she doesn't think that." But he
I do
he
not.
really does. He really does. He really does. But he has to be able to digest that in his own time. Um, does that make sense for you?
It does. I mean, that definitely makes sense because I definitely tell him a lot, and I don't think he listens to anything. And then randomly down the line, months later, he'll say something, and I'm like, oh, he did listen.
Yes.
So that definitely does make sense.
Yeah.
But I think the hard part is just it's the how he closes off and definitely pushes away. It's almost like a hard stop because he beats himself up over it. So he
Yeah.
decides that he's better off, kind of being alone and not worthy. And I think that's kind of where it makes it very tough because, you want to be there, but I think as you're saying, that's hard to do, but maybe that's what has to be done.
Right. They're showing me like a shroud of protection, right? That he's doing that to protect himself, right? Doing that to protect himself, not only from what may be coming outside and coming to him, but like protecting himself from himself, really, and the harsh words that he uses against himself. Um, he has a very, very high standard about himself and his achievements in life and where he thinks he should be. And when he's not living up to those expectations, right, he's very hard on himself. And so it's a matter of this reassurance that, it's okay to fumble, right? A little bit. It's okay to make mistakes because we're all learning in this situation. We're all learning in this life. And so we have to be able to give ourselves that little bit of saying, oh, you know what? That sure didn't work. Okay, let's try again with something different, right? And when you have a perfectionistic, what they're showing me is like a perfectionistic type of um, mentality, that's really hard to get over.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense for him.
Yeah.
So best thing for me is to let him process things, give him the space, get through. You said after the holidays, and this whatever's going on with the energy right now, give him that time.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. Um, and I think he's going to come to his own conclusions after this. I feel like there's a shift for him and he's going to think, oh, maybe this isn't right. Like I feel like something is going to happen that's going to make it click for him and go, wait a minute, there's bigger things that I need to be concerned about or in my life that I need to look at and, you know, be concerned about or be grateful for, right? So it feels like there's this he's right there on that, on that cusp. Um, and they're saying don't forget to remind him that it's okay to be imperfect because none of us are we are all perfectly imperfect is what I like to think, right? We all have our
Mm.
flaws. We all go through, bumbles and mistakes, and we have to be okay with that. We have to be able to learn from that and go from there.
That makes lots of sense.
Yeah. Do you have any other
Oh, it's
questions
going to be a
for me?
long rest of the year to give him through the holidays.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be a little rough ride. Your guides are right there with you though, and they're saying if anybody can do it, you can do it. You've got this. So, um, you're the perfect person to get him through this. So it's really important for you, they're showing me, to be able to keep your energy intact and keep um, to remember to do things for you, right? So when he's off
Right.
decompressing, go do something for you. Go do something for you that fills your cup so that you can be of support to him. Okay.
Got it.
And they're saying also, a lot of times this miscommunication and the words that are being said are not about you. So if you can take a step back and look at it from what I would call the eagle's perspective, right? So that you're way up above the situation so that you can understand what's going on, then because we get so in the minutia of things and we get so close up, especially with our loved ones, our spouses, our partners, right? We are like down into the minutia of it. We are in the view of the mouse. We see everything. But if we can take a step back and be in the view of the eagle, it makes it a lot easier so that we can be in that observation mode.
No, that's
And
a really good analogy and makes sense.
And that's sometimes really hard to do. So if you can't always get there, it's okay, right? It is okay. But if you can get there, it'll make things a lot easier.
I will do my best, but it definitely is hard to get there.
I know, it really is. I understand. I do. Are there any other questions I can answer for you this evening?
I mean, are they, I guess, the long haul for us, I mean, I know there's a lot of different factors, but I mean, is there anything that they're saying kind of in the long haul as we get through this little patch?
What's on the other side?
Yes, ma'am.
They're not really showing me right now what that is. And there's could be a few reasons for that. It could be that there's still some things that are being worked out on the other side. Our loved ones and our guides are always working for us to set things up in perfect timing. And sometimes, even for myself, when I ask, oh, what does that look like? I don't get an answer. And I ask, is this the right time for me to know? And I get no, right? So what they're showing me is that there's a lot of different factors in this. Not good, not bad, right? It's just there are things in there that they're still working on. And so they're just not showing me what that is right now.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, lots of things can happen, time is, things can change over time for sure, every little thing.
Right. So I'm being shown they're saying take baby steps. Every little step forward, take that baby step because it's progress moving forward. Okay. Hold on. There's something else they're bringing forth. Hold on just a moment. So what they're showing me also with him is he wants to feel like that he is making a difference. He wants to feel like he's making a difference in people's lives. And I think this is one of the reasons why he's having such a hard time with this job as well, because it's not coinciding with that piece of him. It's like he's opening up to something bigger and better. And that's all part of what this transition is for him. This opening up of of the stress and the push and the pull. It's almost like he's getting burned out, honestly. Um, So you have a lot of healing energy that 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 is around you and with inside of you. Um, has anybody ever told you that?
No, they have not.
So this energy, this healing energy that you have within you is it's all about it's funny. I hear conflict management. So it's like you can diffuse that energy very, very quickly. And do you do a lot of talking with your hands?
I do.
So as you're talking with your hands, you're moving energy, you're releasing energy. So you're moving the energy in the room. So that's a really good thing. So they're saying, when you are talking, continue to use your hands and to move the energy through the space, because what it does is it diffuses what's going on around you. It's transmuting that energy. Okay.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to you?
It does, because I mean, even you saying that he's getting burnt out, he actually even used the term he's tapped out today.
Yeah.
He has nothing left to give.
Yep.
And then, yes, I do talk a lot with my hands, and I even can see it in the moment, and I try to stop using my hands because I do it at work too, so I try to stop it.
No,
But I
don't
have
stop it.
noticed that.
Yeah, don't stop it. You're doing magical things as you're doing that. And he's absorbing a lot of other people's energy too. So it's about him being able to not absorb that energy so that he can keep his own energy. And I know that's like a whole bigger topic, a whole nother topic that I'm not going to be able to go to because we're coming down to the last few seconds of our show. Um, so I hope this has been helpful for you. It's been a pleasure talking with you this evening.
It has. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
You're so very welcome. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Okay. Well, that does it for me, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We will see you next week. Please visit me on my website at wingsofsoulswithjulie.com to book your own personal one-on-one reading. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you next week.